That's what Knots does best, baby.
A fire team that fights together stays together.
I hate his fucking saying sometimes, man.
Yeah, Jesus, what? Who fucking wrote these lines?
What can stop you if you fight together?
Yeah. It sounds like fucking Kiefer Sutherland in Call of Duty World at War. No one fights alone!
Nah,
Right?
This guy
Right?
sounds
Yeah, it is
really
pretty fucking accurate.
I didn't like the original Destiny game and caught a lot of shit from people on my review of the beta, I mean demo, only to be later proven right once the game actually came out, and it addressed none of my criticisms. So how does the sequel, which many people are calling Destiny 1.5, compare to the original? Well, I didn't play the console version of the Destiny 2 demo because 30 FPS for a first-person shooter in 2017 is unacceptable, so I'm basing this review entirely off of my experience with the PC version. I made a video with my concerns about the game in the past, link in the description in case you missed it, and I've got to say, I was thoroughly impressed by how this game played on PC. The difference is night and day from the original Destiny demo. Maybe it's because Bungie had an extra 3 years to figure out how to make the game better, but either way, the PC version is reaping the benefits of extra time and extra frames. I had 4 main complaints about the first game, 2 for multiplayer and 2 from the campaign, aside from the duration of the loading screens longer than waiting at the DMV, which unfortunately hasn't been fixed in this iteration. However, they did a great job with my other issues. My 2 main multiplayer complaints were that the game controlled extremely clunky, almost like trying to pick up a piece of paper with a backhoe, and the constant barrage of supercharges like money shots in a porn movie. Destiny 2 has managed to rectify both situations with a more tightly built, competitive focused 4v4 Crucible. The controls are no longer Battlefield Bad Company 2-esque on the 360 circa 8 years ago, as with the additional frames, mouse and keyboard input for greater precision, and the buttery smoothness of this particular build, I don't feel the characters are as heavy as a contestant on The Biggest Loser. The responsiveness of your character with the keyboard and mouse is quicker than your nut session. However, I do have an issue with the aim assist level with a controller on PC, as I feel it's a bit too high. It was very obvious when another player would snap to you like a sassy black girl, and after seeing video clips of other controller users on PC. But hey, this is what a beta is supposed to be used for, to detect shit like this.
Yeah, aim assist on this is absurd. This shouldn't be aim assist with a controller on.
Oh, wow.
No matter
I
what.
don't know how I fucking kill traded with that guy. Okay, fair enough. Reducing the player count from 12 to 8 per match and slowing down the rate with which people earn their supercharge abilities has definitely helped out the game. The super abilities feel much more balanced than in the original, as you can have melee type abilities and other more long range ones on each subclass, along with having a character ability that recharges like grenades, although I did find the hunter ability to dodge almost useless. The classes now seem to have much more of a role to differentiate from each other than in the first game, where it was only about the super abilities. Titan is defense, Warlock is support, and Hunter is offensive, and I don't mean in the take down all the statues type way. The main gripe I have with the multiplayer is with the netcode, as the game utilizes a peer-to-peer networking system which should be unheard of in 2017, but remember, this game is published by Activision, spelled with a $, and is too cheap to go with dedicated servers across the board. With the DDoSing problem in the original Destiny game, I'm surprised that Bungie is continuing with the same scheme that allows you to access the IP addresses of other players in the lobby, but it's even more pathetic that people even do this practice in the first place. I mean, seriously, if your rank is only that high because you boot every other player offline that's better than you, are you really as good as that fancy marking indicates that you are? It's like taking Viagra for your E-peen. If you can't get it up normally, don't brag about your dick. Anyways, there is a video that explains how the Destiny 2 netcode works on the Battle Nonsense YouTube channel, link in the description to that video, but it's obvious, even on running much better hardware, there are still these shot around a corner issues that must be 100 times worse on console than PC, since it updates the game less than on PC.
Was fucking right.
Wow,
Like
shot that fucking guy around the corner, huh? I really like how the UI is laid out with the score and character ability statuses of your teammates at the top, the callouts next to the radar, and the information in the kill feed about ability usage and power ammo pickups. Having all of this information at your fingertips is much better to use in your strategical play. The map is much smaller than the offerings in the first game, and thank fuck there are no vehicles to deal with, but the spawns definitely need to be looked at, as my rage montage showed. My main 2 gripes about the campaign were that it was repetitive, which unfortunately is part of the fabric for this type of game. However, the other complaint regarding the difficulty of the missions has been addressed, although in the first beta there wasn't a strike to complete as there was in the inverted spire in the Destiny 2 beta. This particular strike was definitely much more difficult than the campaign missions in both Destiny betas, as the boss wasn't tougher than a globe with an eye or a fucking turbine blade. No, oh god, I'm almost dead!
No.
I have so little health right now. No! Oh god, I'm so far outside the map!
Help me! Help me!
Jesus Christ! I went fucking flying, bro.
No!
I could not believe that you had to replay the same campaign missions 3 times in a row in order to use all 3 classes in the Crucible, but then I remembered it was a Destiny game and it all made sense to me. This brings me to my other gripe, which hasn't been rectified in the sequel, the repetitiveness, which is inherent in this type of MMO style game. Unfortunately, this is one of the biggest things for making this game an instant purchase for me. While the PvE strike was fun to play, it was only enjoyable on the first time around. The mystique is over after you've gone through the mission once, and unlike in the Division, which is also a similar grindy type game, the Dark Zone had the mechanic of having other players interrupt your battles and potentially stealing your loot, which makes for a more interesting and unique experience each time through a mission. This isn't the case in Destiny, in spite of there at times being those random events that spawn bosses that could drop loot, which isn't enough to draw me to keep playing the same shit ad nauseum in order to get better or different weapons for the multiplayer part of the game. Even though the description of the Crucible and competitive say that weapon ranking doesn't matter, there's clearly weapons that are better than others, which you can only use if you own that particular weapon. Hand cannon.
Yeah, but I've sat there and meleeed 50,000 times, and all I was doing there was trying to melee
on,
and it
man.
fucking chops a knife.
Fucking pistols beat everything in this fucking shit show of a game. Given that Destiny 2 on PC will release on October 24th, more than a month and a half after its console release on September 6th, this game is going to be a wait-and-see approach just by its nature. However, given the shenanery that has gone on in the previous game with locking base content behind paywalls and fucking over OG players from year one, I'm hesitant about buying this game on principle alone. I will probably purchase it when it goes on sale, but this PC version has impressed me thus far, from it being a will not buy to a serious consideration, which would be an instant buy if not for my personal preferences regarding the grindy aspect of the game. If these things don't bother you and you have a rig that is more capable than a console, I'd throw down for it on PC instantaneously, which, shameless plug, is 10% off on Green Man Gaming if you use my affiliate link in the description. What did you guys think of Destiny 2 and which platform did you play on? I've been the Schwantz27, out like any decent player on the Detroit Tigers. Until next time. Listen, I don't want to get that immersed in Destiny yet, where I have to play the game over and over and over and over and over again. Alright? That is the one part of the original Destiny I didn't like that is still in this game.